Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So applications for fall 2018 have been out for a little over a week now, which is so exciting. If you guys are applying, I wish you all the luck. Fair warning for the rest of this video. I have severe asthma and it's really cold outside and it's very dry, and so I'm gonna be doing heavy breaths like that a lot. I have been taking my inhaler pretty regularly, but it's running on the end of my 4 hours that I'm allowed to take it. So I will be heavy breathing a lot, so just be aware of that. So with this video, since applications have been out, I thought maybe it would be a good idea for me to finally do a role description video for my role that was a part of attractions for the Spring Advantage 2016 quarter. So as I've mentioned before, I did main entrance operations at Blizzard Beach, and it was the best role I could have picked for myself. I didn't pick it for myself, but if I could have, I probably would have picked that. I loved it so much. I loved my location, I loved my coworkers, I loved my managers, my leaders, my coordinators, everyone. I loved that job. And so I want to talk to you about the 3 different roles that I had within the main entrance operations category. So I had park greeter, which is the most common, then there's parking, and then I was also a cashier. About halfway through my program I got trained in cashier, which is not common for CPs. I don't even know if they have it at other locations. At my location, I knew I really wanted to do it because I'll get into what it is and I'll talk about it a little bit more, but I really wanted to do it and I got the opportunity to, and I kind of started a tidal wave of all the other CPs being like, I want to get trained, I want to get trained. I'm like, it's fine. I just wanted to feel special. And I'm just kidding, but it really was a fun role. So we're gonna start with greeter, and I'm gonna start by telling you about like the training schedules and things like that. So the training schedule for greeter was about 3 days. You spend a lot of time in the computers, looking at slides, making sure that you fully understood like procedures and things like that. And then you also spent a lot of time working on site with your trainer, basically just them kind of throwing you in, and then if you have questions, they'll answer them and kind of work it through, or work through it with you. That was weird. So yeah, I'll just kind of talk about what greeter does, I guess. So greeter, you're standing at the turnstiles. They're touch points now. And you're standing there, you have your device in hand, which basically tells you maybe the person's name and if they're good to go, if there's a biometric error, things like that. And if there's biometric error, you basically just kind of say, oh, do it 2 more times. And if it's still not working for them on the 3rd try, then you call over guest relations and they kind of help through there. It's actually pretty simple. It's really not that difficult to comprehend, learning wise, not like, you know what I mean. So there was a lot of tasking that also happens with park greeter. Why do I keep wanting to say front desk? I don't know why I almost said front desk. So at the main entrance, you could be tasking doing like cleaning the touch points, you could be cleaning the water fountains, you could be sweeping around the area, you could be picking up garbage from one part of the park to the other, and then another to another, things like that. This was me saying from the front of the park until Winter Summerland, then from here to the trash cans. So I knew my section pretty well, but no big deal. Another thing is at Blizzard, we didn't have security. So like you didn't have to go through security. I don't know if that's changed. I don't think it has. And so the people working greeter are responsible for checking coolers to make sure no glass, no alcohol are being carried into the park for pretty obvious reasons. With it being a water park, you can't have glass. Also, you can't bring your own alcohol into the parks. If you didn't know that, I'm sorry. I think really that's all. Oh, I didn't talk about exit greeter. So exit greeter is a major part as well, and that's where you're standing where the people are exiting the park and you're basically saying bye, have a magical day. And then sometimes, which made that part so much more fun, is we would have like games. We'd have bubbles, we'd have hula hoops and things like that. And my favorite part was when I'd be like blowing bubbles with kids. Parents would come up and go, you're getting paid for this? And I'm like, heck yeah, I'm getting paid for this. This job is literally the greatest thing in the world. And I loved it. That made it so much more fun. I think that pretty much covers all of the greeter role. If you guys have any other questions about greeter, or even any of the other roles, if I don't go into enough detail about it, let me know and I will hopefully be able to answer those questions. But I really think that's it. Greeter's really not that difficult. There's not a lot to it, but it is so much fun and you meet so many people, so much guest interaction. I loved my role because I know there are so many people who get attractions and they're like, oh, I really hope I don't get main entrance. I hope I don't get park greeter. But like, park greeter was honestly so much fun. If I could have picked a role, I would have picked that one. Like, it was so much fun. So let's move on to parking. A lot to parking at Blizzard. All the parking at Blizzard is free, and so we didn't have to worry about anyone having to work in like ticket booths out in the parking lots. You know how, like, you know what I mean, I think. It's not hard. We did have preferred parking, which I'll talk a little bit more about as a cashier. That kind of ties into that a little bit more. So preferred parking, from the parking cast members' standpoint, you're basically standing there and people come over and they pay you 15 bucks and then you basically are trying to show them the preferred parking spots, which are basically just the first 2 rows of the Blizzard parking lot. I think it's probably more at like any other theme park, but at Blizzard we have a very, very small parking lot. So we didn't even have things like the trams. We didn't have like all that major parking lot sort of things that other places have. I really wanted to drive a tram. So when I found out I was not going to be able to be working, even parking, I only had 2 parking shifts my whole time working there because at the time that I was being trained in parking, I was also had been just trained in cashier, and so I was spending way more time working cashier because after I got the cashier role, I didn't work park greeter or parking ever again. Yeah, we'll get there. So with parking, we were out in the parking lot, we were directing people, we had lots of people out there, typically like 3 to 5 people out in the parking lot, people at each row, people basically pointing, and then we always had someone working, the parking coordinator basically, who ran everything, made sure everyone was getting their breaks and things like that. I never got to be parking coordinator, but it was really fun. I got to try the Pargo once, and that was fun. I'm only slightly salty about it. Shannon, my first Shannon was parking coordinator all the time. So really, again, there was nothing to parking. It's pretty self-explanatory, especially at Blizzard because we don't have the tram, we don't have the excess parking little booths where you pay for parking. I'm really not able to help with that. So lastly is cashier. My camera's now flashing the battery sign even though I just charged it, so whoop whoop. So cashier, you are responsible for selling tickets, you're working will call, lost and found, complaints, guest services, all of that into one. And I absolutely loved working cashier. You were in your own little cubicle sort of thing, you had your little window, and I loved it. Oh, really quick, sorry. Parking training was 2 days, which is where I had my 2 days of parking. I only got trained in parking. I never had an actual parking shift. So I'm sorry, I didn't make that clear earlier. So cashiering training was the longest I had, and that was 4 days. And most of that was on the machine, selling the tickets with just the trainer standing behind you, basically making sure she's teaching you how to use the system while actually working with guests, which was, in my opinion, so fun because it made it feel more real. I really loved it. So another thing that we did was preferred parking. Like I had mentioned, for parking, the preferred person had to be cash trained. Really wasn't hard. I got cash trained, and that's saying something. Basically, you just have to be able to take $20 out of, or how much change you give for a 20, so $5 because preferred was $15. And you would just basically stand out there with your little apron on and you would be selling the tickets for preferred parking. Really wasn't anything to it, but it was so much fun. Sorry. Oh my god, I can't even breathe. I'm so sorry. My asthma's literally been kicking my butt. So another thing that we did was, because Blizzard is a water park and it's in Orlando, we got rained out pretty much every day. The thunder and lightning would cause all the rides to go 101, and everyone has to get out of the water. And so cashiers would work in their guest service booths, and we would have these little rain vouchers, which were basically just complimentary tickets to come back any one day for the next calendar year, so that you were able to get kind of reimbursed for not being able to spend more than a day at the water park. And you were only able to get those if you had been in the park for 4 hours, which caused a lot of drama with a lot of the guests. But again, they were always pretty much happy when they walked away because you were able to give them the rain vouchers. You know, I really think that's it. There's not really much to it, but again, I just want to make it clear, park greeting, main entrance is such a fun role. Parking is such a fun role, and I know so many people don't want parking. I was nervous for parking, but doing it and work, because when I was doing preferred parking as a cashier, I was out there with the parking cast members, and it was so much fun. They were always a bunch of my friends, and we would always make games. We got yelled at for singing over the walkie-talkies. It was so much fun. So if you guys are nervous about getting that role when you get attractions, don't worry about it. I truly, truly loved my job. So if I love my job, you'll probably love your job too. Maybe. I make a lot of happy out of what I do. But I really hope that answers a lot of you guys' questions. Again, if I didn't go into enough detail, let me know. I can either remake the video or I can just kind of comment on the sort of things that you guys have a question on. But again, I loved this role, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!